Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday, which means it's time for yet another Salty Saturday morning. I am your host, Mr. Kadish, the belabored, producer of the Salty Nerd podcast, which is still on hiatus, by the way. You're not missing anything, but we're doing our Salty Saturdays every Saturday. And I'm excited to introduce our toned-down, fantastic panel of nerds, starting with the man, the myth, the legend, Dutch Butters himself. How you doing, Dutch?
I gotta turn my mute off, but hey, hi, how are you, buddy? I do that all the time. I'm muted, man. Shit.
Just talking to the air.
I'm feeling a little asymmetric today. I feel like I'm off somewhere. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm feeling a little weird, but you know, it's all good. You know, it's all good. That's awkward. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
What do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands.
You know, fat white guy with an off-center beard. That's where I'm at.
Fat guy with
an off-centered beard.
Yeah. You're a little crooked too today, man. Your little thing's going a little.
I have a CPAP, so it like makes my beard go like odd angles when I wake up in the morning.
These are things you could say before the show.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Whatever.
That's just
Real
Dutch. That's how
weird
Dutch
pod.
But we're very excited to welcome our special guest, Black Garrett. First time on Salty Saturdays. How you doing, Garrett?
Good. Thank you for having me on. I might be asymmetrical. I'm not sure. I didn't look.
You're looking pretty good.
Okay, good. All right. Ready to talk about stuff.
How's it feel to be slumming it with a couple nerds as opposed to FNT and Louder with Crowder and your normal world? Like you're pretty big and you're spending your Saturday with us.
Hey, nerds are my people, so I'm glad to be here.
There we go.
I'd rather be here than other political shows. So
hey, I have a question since you hang out with so many nerds, Garrett. How do you manage the stank? The nerd stank.
The nerd stank, yeah.
I'm amongst them, so it never goes away. I just kind of get used to it. It's 2 cloves of garlic, just straight up the nose.
Garrett's like Jane Goodall.
I'm learning so much.
Yeah, so we asked that question because after the Nerdrotic meetup here in Vegas, like we have. We open up our studio, we give people free time to come in and do their live streams and stuff like that. And this year in particular, after every live stream, our studio just had this rank air in it, like this nerd stink that was like in the walls. It's like people, coming off of airplanes coming right to the studio, like the travel stink, smoking weed, funny. Smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, like sweating. And every night we had to run like air purifiers just to like get rid of the nerd stank.
You're like, this is my space. What have you done?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a small space with a lot of people going through. It's fine.
Yeah,
kind of funny.
We got to rent that shit out, man.
It makes you understand con crud though. That's a real thing. And that's why. So
there's really not enough soap sellers there. They should have like deodorant booth with some spray deodorant that it's just constantly shooting out into the crowd. That would be ideal.
Just some Axe body spray.
Yeah.
Somewhere. But next year I think we're going to have some hand sanitizer just available in the studio just to try to keep everything nice and clean.
Yeah.
But speaking of nice and clean, Brian from the Popcast is here.
What's up,
Brian?
I am very clean. I take a shower every Saturday morning, but just Saturdays.
Just Saturdays.
Trying to save water. I live in California. There's a drought. A drought for 65 years. A never-ending drought.
Yep.
Good to be here, my friend. Good to be here.
Isn't it 1 shower a week mandated by the government in California to everybody?
I don't know. I legit take a shower every morning, and it's like 2 hours long.
You can use.
I get up in the morning.
5 gallons
I'm one
water.
of those guys who turns the shower on. I sit down and I fall asleep for about 30 minutes, and I wake up. All pruny and ready to rock. That's my morning.
All pruny. So those of you out there watching, you might notice that we have a couple nerds missing from the panel. The first one is Odin, and he just decided that he's too important for us anymore. He's just going to focus on FNT and just not bother showing up. Actually, I'm joking. He actually got food poisoning last night and he's afraid that if he comes on stream, he might throw up from both ends of his body. So he is not going to be here today. Some bad pineapple pizza. That might have been what did it to him. But he missed last week for Easter, and he missed this week because he's sick. Hopefully he will return triumphantly at the beginning of May for our first summer live stream. Tom Connors Jr. is also MIA, and he's probably out there eating cereal somewhere. And he will show up when he feels it, probably, maybe.
He's scared of me. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to be around me. I don't get it. What the heck?
Exactly. All right, guys. So we got a goal of getting 10 new memberships today during the live stream. So if you guys feel like throwing out those gifted memberships, we want to hit 10 of those by the time the stream is over. And we're also on the road to 25,000 subs. Like, we've hit our 20,000 sub mark. So we're trying to get to that next milestone, which is 25,000 subs. The Force of Light girls are actually going to be joining us in a couple weeks, and they have hit 50,000. They started after us. So, we may not be hot chicks, but we feel like we should at least be, on their level because we started way before they were. Yeah.
You need to show more cleavage, Dutch.
I know.
That's the problem. What are you doing, bro?
Yeah, you got to push it together.
Yep. Squeeze that.
Welcome to the Salty Nerd Saturday show.
Was it too early for him?
All right. And if you want to join our community, head on over to saltynerddiscord.com. That takes you right to our Discord server. Dutch, what do we got going on over on the Discord?
Unprepared as always when you ask me that question every week. It just keeps growing, man. It keeps getting bigger and more people join. Every time we put a video out, a couple people join the Discord. So it's fun. Good discussions. A lot of people putting groups together for playing games and Discord stuff.
Discord stuff.
Yeah. I mean, what am I supposed to say when you ask me what's going on Discord? Discord shit.
Discord stuff.
People are using the various services. They are talking, chatting, and using voice services. And
Dutch, going forward, just say Discord stuff.
That's it. Discord stuff.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right, guys. Want to remind you that our good friend of the show, who's in the chat, Mephisto, he has a show right after our show called Mephisto's Movie Reviews. He does this show called The Real McCoy. It's a very good show. I'd highly recommend you check it out. But in a half hour after our show is done, where we automatically redirect you, is The Brain Show. And no, that's not misspelled. That's Brian and Shane homogenized together at 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It is their political talk show. And Brian, what do you guys got going on today?
We're talking about China. A lot of stuff going on with China. Also, there's some Superman just recently got its IP rights, so it's going to open them globally. We're going to talk about that. And a lot of political nonsense. People getting immigrated, not getting immigrated, Trump ignoring the courts. Fun stuff. Really fun, just lighthearted, world-changing geopolitical stuff. I really enjoy it.
You know what I like about you and Shane just shooting the shit about political stuff as opposed to entertainment stuff is you guys actually have interesting, different takes than what we normally hear out there. So
I'm a regular guy and I don't know much about any of it. So I just sort of respond to what Shane's telling me. That's pretty much how it goes.
Shane's a lib, I think. So,
Shane's a lib.
He's a fence sitter. All right. And real quick, just want to give a big shout out to Scotty Dub, who is our top contributor and our top super chatter. He is at the top of the charts with a $500 super chat. Scotty Dub is sitting pretty, followed closely by Made You Say Butts, who dropped a $300 super chat a while ago. And we also have Mexican Iron Man, who is our most consistent contributor. Mm-hmm. And our top gifters are Jillian H., Major Chai Chai, and Eric Winberg. Really appreciate you guys. You make all this, happen. We've got Kenneth LaRoque, who's a member for 8 months, dropping a member chat. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you, Kenneth. Good to see you. And we got another member chat from GJJ, a member for 15 months. By my calculations, that's over a year. Hail all. Hail GJJ. Good to see you. And of course, we've got Salty Superstar Bob Dorsey, who gifted 5 Salty Nerd Podcast memberships. Thank you, Bob. Good to see you. And we've got Aaron Charman, who gifted 1 Salty Nerd Podcast membership. Aaron, very nice avatar there. It's Dave Landau.
I was gonna say that looks like Dave Landau.
That's a
Dave Landau. We found
caricature.
out Dave looks like everybody in a weird way.
Yeah.
You can put his face onto any body and it works.
I love Dave Landau.
Yeah, he's hilarious. And we've got Jillian H, who gifted 5 Salty Nerd Podcast memberships. So between Bob and Jillian H, the queen of gifted memberships, we have hit our goal for the day. Thank you guys so much. Next goal is 15. If we can hit 15, we'll be sitting pretty. And Dutch Butter's favorite person just dropped a super chat. Danny the Dork Knight for $2.
Not enough.
Good luck, and you'll get 25K before you know it. Thank you, Danny.
Not acknowledging you. Not doing it.
Are you sure? Are you sure, Dutch?
I know. I just did, didn't I? Yeah, that's great.
we acknowledge Danny the Dork Knight.
Yeah.
And of course, we've got Eric Winberg with his obligatory gifted 1 Salty Nerd Podcast membership. Every single stream, he just comes in and he's like, here's a membership. There you go.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Eric. Appreciate you very much. All right, guys. So let's talk a little bit about some inside baseball. And when Garrett was here for FNT, I got to chat with both him and Gary about some stuff about Rumble and how Rumble is not quite the success story everyone thinks it is. And we've been critical about Rumble on this show for quite some time because their discovery just isn't there. They seem to have like a what do you call it? Like a inside club, if you're in the cool kids club, like you get reach. If you're not, if you're just like an average user,
Very high school.
Nobody ever finds your videos. Yes, very high school, very clicky. And even among like the people who are in the in crowd, there's like hierarchies. Because I know like Mr. Reagan, who's a friend of the show, like they've invited him to come on Rumble, but like they don't really, every time he applies, they just kind of ignore him. It's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But the big thing was when Shad from Shadiversity kind of like came out and did a deconstruction of all of like his Rumble numbers. And it was very kind of interesting where he basically said like Rumble is just faking views. And in fact, I found this very interesting article from Marketing Haven about Rumble views, and what they call them are raw views, right? And these are the numbers that are the front-facing numbers. So like when you go on Rumble and you see like how many views a video got, what they're displaying there are actually raw views. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about this is that raw views are the total count of video views without any filters or adjustments. And basically what that means is that each view, even if it's barely a second long, contributes to your raw views. So it's a raw measure of your content's ability to capture attention. But it's basically like, if it's an impression, if somebody watched for like a fraction of a second or like, whatever, it's counted as a view. Whereas on YouTube, anything that's below 30 seconds is not counted as a view. But on top of that, the way that Rumble calculates these things is the same user counts as a view. So like, as opposed to unique views, which is like one user viewed your stuff multiple times, that counts as one view. Rumble counts that as multiple views. So a unique user could come and like watch your stuff like 2 or 3 times, and it counts as 2 or 3 views as opposed to just one single unique view. And it's kind of an interesting kind of breakdown as to like what Rumble's doing over there, because YouTube recently changed their view count for shorts alone, which basically you have views, which is every time a short like plays essentially, but then you also have like qualified views, which are the views that they count for like advertising and stuff like that, which are the based off of like watch percentage or something along those lines. But what's interesting about Rumble is like they're trying to position themselves as a competitor for YouTube, and a lot of people have been kind of like diving deep into their analytics and being like, well, normally if you get this many views, you should have this much engagement, right? Like number of comments or like interactions, thumbs up, stuff like that. And they're just not seeing that on Rumble. And so like a lot of people are kind of like sketchy about like how Rumble's reporting their numbers. Right. And the conversations I had with Garrett and Gary when they were here in town, were very interesting about their experiences on Rumble and stuff like that. So I want to throw this to Garrett. Garrett, what's your take on Rumble? And do you think like with their current strategy, it's worth it for creators to invest time and effort into the platform?
Rumble sucks. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
Freaking sucks. We talked about it. We did a podcast at the podcast studio, and we were talking about it there. And I come from it like I want there to be a competitor. Rumble is not it. Rumble is not a video platform competitor. They said they wanted to do that because that was what was like easy to get get groundswell behind them. Oh, we're gonna come for YouTube. We're getting YouTubers to come over here to this website and use our platform, and we're going to dole out all these little creator packages and try to get you to make stuff over here. But once you go over to Rumble, and after they might help you with your views and put you on the front page, they might not during your contract. I had one, full disclosure, for I think maybe 4 months or something like that, where I would dual stream YouTube, Rumble, and sometimes they'd put you up on the front page, sometimes you wouldn't. If you didn't go on the front page, you're getting it's like the 3 people that went through your link that are watching over there.
Yeah.
And there's no growth outside of that. So that's my problem is there's no reason for me to spend the extra time to dual stream and set all that stuff up and try and cultivate stuff over there when it's really not growing at all over there. I do appreciate the people that do want to use that platform, and I totally get trying to get away from YouTube. But the best experience for both creator and audience for me is still YouTube. As much as it's got its problems, and so does Rumble with censoring people and messing people's channels up and deleting them and all this stuff. It's still the best user experience. So if Rumble wants to be a competitor, they have to fix their user experience, which means they, instead of investing into massive creators like Dr. Disrespect or whoever these people are, invest in your platform. Make the back end much better, because it's the same. They've been making very small changes, but it's like, if you're going to spend millions and millions of dollars on creators that aren't even going to take your platform seriously, spend those millions on great developers that will make your platform better. Because that's the only way you're going to compete with YouTube. If that's what you're trying to do, they're really more trying to compete with Twitch, it feels like, because they're getting Twitch streamers and streaming content over video content. So that's just my thing about it. And with the views, I've known this for years at this point, like 4 years, that their numbers are not. I don't want to say that they're faking them. They're just not counting them the same way that everybody understands what a view is by default. You think it's okay, 30 seconds into a video, it counts as a view. If the video is on a main page, it doesn't count as a view if it's just on a big main page. Well, on Rumble, it kind of does. It counts as a view if you're just scrolling past it. So it's just analytically counted differently. So it feels like, wow, my numbers are huge, but my interactions are tiny. So there's something off about that. And I think people have picked that up over time.
Huh.
Yeah.
Do you think they're actually is there actually a large audience that uses Rumble?
I not comparable to YouTube, or I don't even think Twitch, even though Twitch is like falling down the toilet. I think there's definitely a lot of people that use it. I think a lot of people in like our spheres and political spheres that want to get away from YouTube, because YouTube was like draconian for a long time. So they're trying, and I've gone to every single one of these platforms. I'm telling you. I've gone to Odyssey. I've been on BitChute. I've been on Minds. I've been on all of them because I'm trying, I want to try them out. I want to support the other platforms, but they either become oversaturated with politics or complete ghost towns.
Mhm.
It's just like, you're just like, hey,
Right.
hey, and there's nobody around.
Hello.
Right. So I don't know.
You hear back, MAGA country.
Yeah. Well, or like, yeah, way worse than that. I'd be fine with that.
Or racial, some kind of racial.
Garrett, one of the points that you made on Beardo's live stream was that all the big people on Rumble built their audience elsewhere. I'm sorry, Shag's live stream. They built their following elsewhere and then came to Rumble. Like, there's no homegrown Rumble creator.
Or they got banned. Just banned off of YouTube and had to move. So
move. So the audience, a portion of their audience went with them. Nothing is as big as YouTube. YouTube has bigger numbers than any other platform and any other network television show. It's the most amount of viewers.
Yeah, and it's like that's the devil in the convenience of using the biggest platform that has the most money behind it, that has the most advertising money behind it, that has the second largest search engine. The first is Google, so like, of course, anytime you search for a video, Google's going to be like, yeah, here's a YouTube video.
Yeah. YouTube is owned by the first biggest search engine, and they are also the second biggest search engine.
Yeah.
It's hard to leave that. Listen, my main channel has 150,000 subs. We routinely get 100 to 500,000, a million views on our videos. And I was simul uploading to Rumble and YouTube for years. I did it when it was automated, and after the automation stopped, I kept doing it for a while. I kept going, if it's going on YouTube, same day I put it on Rumble, and we would advertise the Rumble channel and the YouTube. Dude, I have 150,000 subs on YouTube, 200 million views, and I have 50 subs on Rumble and about 1,200 views. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you talking about, there is no organic growth on Rumble. Now, to be fair, my main channel is not politics. It's documentary pop culture stuff. So maybe that kind of content doesn't thrive there.
But you could argue that any video platform needs that type of content, just diversity of content, in order to grow, to attract people who aren't just there for like one thing. But speaking of attracting people, we have Tom Connors Jr., who just finished his serial, decided to show up to the live stream. Good to have you here, Tom.
This comes in on Tom time.
What's up, Tom? Hey, man.
Hey, Tom.
It's 10:30, bro. I'm writing you up.
What's going on?
How you doing,
What's up,
Tom?
bro? What's up?
What are you doing? He's physically frozen in real life.
He's pulling a Chris Gore. He's just sitting there. All right. Well, Tom, do you have anything that you would like to add about how Rumble seems to be faking it till it makes it, and is there going to be an actual credible YouTube competitor anytime soon?
Don't we all just fake it till we make it?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Only when I go to men's bathhouses.
Only when you're in the bedroom, Brian.
That's true. It's true.
No, I don't really have much to say about Rumble. It's a green machine. I don't really use it much. I've just used it a few times, and I just finally got paid for the first times from them, so.
What was that like? How do they pay
very
you?
Much.
Cup of coffee.
Now, they don't pay you based off of their raw views, right? They pay you based off of like a different.
I think I'm getting straight up whatever super Rumble rant things I've gotten in it. So.
Yeah, I've gotten Rumble rants in there too. Another thing too, Garrett said the back end sucks. The back end is horrible.
Yeah.
Like it is, you guys, it is. Setting up a live stream is a nightmare. We used to simulcast our political channel every Saturday to both Rumble and YouTube. And the last few weeks, I've given up because every time I set up Rumble and I go to start the software, it asks me for a stream key that's completely different than the one that I was originally offered. And then while the show is happening, I have to then go into the back end while I'm talking to people, try to like locate the correct stream key. It's such a pain in the ass. They don't do multi-channel stuff well for people that have multiple channels. We all have multiple channels. Doing multi-channel stuff on Rumble, it's easier to literally log out and log into different accounts. The back end is horrible to play with. Even the thumbnails don't even like have the correct aspect ratio. So like you upload that and that first preview you look at, you're like, I wonder if that's my file or if it's just randomly stretched out. I don't understand. Like, you can have this like great platform, but like even like the most basic coding stuff isn't complete. It's like they just didn't try to finish it because what's the point? So all these exclusive contracts they have with these big creators, that's great. But Rumble is less of a competitor to YouTube and more of like a platform for these specific creators that they signed, almost like an old network kind of thing, where you sign these shows that come on your TV network, and they can leave at some point and go to another network. It's more like that. And if they want to be a competitor to YouTube, which I want them to be a competitor to YouTube, I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket. But they got to fix back-end stuff. They got to diversify content. And for the people that can't be on YouTube that are over there, that's great. Like, I watch Crowder over there. I do.
Yeah.
That's awesome. He can't really be on YouTube. He can't say this if he wants on YouTube. Cool. There's an option. But if they want to actually compete with YouTube and they want to take on the Goliath that is YouTube, then they have to fix these problems, and they got to diversify their content and stop playing favorites with very specific creators. Again, 4 years on that platform, 200 million views on YouTube, 1,200 views on Rumble. It's the same content.
Yeah. I don't really personally, with my stuff, we're just a gaming channel. We're not super political. I say some stupid stuff every once in a while that YouTube will probably, wag its finger at me for one day. But I personally don't really feel like there's a reason for me to go to Rumble because it's like it's Rumble to me is like it's like the Truth Social of the video channels, right? It's like if you're not MAGA or if you're not like super political, there's really no reason to go over there unless you've literally been kicked off and expelled from Twitch and YouTube. It's like a YouTube jail place. That's what it feels like to me. And the back end is, you're right, Brian. It's awful. I tried to do it once, and my caveman brain just said, "Nope, I'm not going to do that." And I said,
"I have a degree in computer science," and I was confused. I was, I was looking up how-to videos. Guess where? On YouTube.
Yeah, right. How to do Rumble on YouTube videos.
Having like a double channel, like, because I have like two channels. I have the political one and the pop culture one, and I want to keep them separate because like they're so different. Having two on there is a nightmare. It's like I wish I would have never have done it.
And it's like simple stuff that, I say simple, I'm not a web developer, but like it seems to be simple stuff that you could hire good web developers to solve. Like, why is there 2 pages when you're trying to set up a live stream? That should be
so
one
weird.
page.
No, there's 3 pages, because then you also have the page where you have to accept the terms every time.
Yeah.
And the terms are confusing, like this kind of license, that kind of license. And you're like, are you stealing my content? Or like, thankfully, someone was like, this one's a lot like YouTube. Like, oh, okay. It literally says, this one's like YouTube. And you're like, okay, that's the one I want.
Yeah, it's like simple stuff that I want them to fix. But I'm like, is that your interest? Are you interested in making it a good platform, or are you just trying to get quick dollars from getting giant streamers? It's like Kick. It's the same thing. It's like these fly-by-night websites come up and they have a lot of smoke and mirrors and say, oh, we're for the cause and we're trying to help free speech and all this bullshit just to try to get people onto their platform. Like that's what it seems like.
It does feel like that.
Doing.
It feels like they're trying to like just get people, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe people use Rumble just for like the right wing politics. But you are leaving a lot like, business wise. You're leaving a lot of viewers on the table. There are people that aren't political at all and just want to watch a cool documentary about freaking Alien 3.
But Brian,
slash the podcast on Rumble if you want to go watch it.
So you kind of talked about like how difficult it is to stream on Rumble. I know that I know I've talked to other people who like would simul stream on both YouTube and Rumble, and they eventually just said, we're just splitting the audience. All the people who watch us on Rumble used to watch us on YouTube, so like our numbers aren't as good on YouTube because like we're splitting the audience by sending people over there, and there's no real benefit to doing that. What's your take on possibly splitting audiences?
I think it's a real thing. Although there are people that would never like support us on YouTube. They would watch us and chat, but they wouldn't actually send a super chat or whatever or become a member. And on Rumble, they would do the Rumble rants. I was actually shocked when that first Rumble rant came in. I was like, what the hell? You can do that here? So, I mean, that's cool. Maybe there's people that want to like watch YouTube because that's where their creator is, but they don't want to support through YouTube. So that's an option. But you are definitely splitting the audience, because I have like my tiny political channel will get like, 60 or whatever viewers during a live stream. When I simulcasted to Rumble, that was definitely like less 25 to 30% every single time. So if I got like 100 viewers in the first hour, that was cut down to like 50 or 55.
Mm-hmm. And it's like when you're streaming, you want to have all of the viewers in one spot so they can all talk to each other, because that's what streaming is about. You're live, you're with everybody at the same time, and when you bifurcate your audience, you've got this audience over here that are talking 100%. And these, and then you got to try to, I mean, it's kind of hard to like follow both chats while you're
totally
also
right.
playing the game or talking or whatever. So it's nicer to have all your audience in one spot. And where's going to be the place that has more growth for your channel?
Yeah, I used to simulcast to 2 channels on YouTube, because one was like my members channel and one was like the regular live channel. And the members were actually getting annoyed, like, they were supporting us, but they couldn't actually talk to the rest of the people that were on the live, the public side of it. So we ended up killing that members program, even though it was making us money, because the members that were giving us money were like, we can't talk to people, so you shouldn't have 2 streams. So we went to one for that reason.
Yeah, I remember doing that. I want them to fix it. I wanted to.
Yeah, you remember that, right, Dutch?
Yeah, I would be on your members side, and there would be 5 people in there, and we talk to each other. But the other channel had like 150 people talking, and we were like,
right.
Well, I want to talk to those guys. Wait a second, what's going on? Yeah.
Right. So and to be fair, YouTube's not perfect either. YouTube has some issues. Like their members program is a disaster sometimes. There's things you can't do that you should be able to do without a shadow of a doubt. But like I said, when I couldn't figure out stuff on Rumble, I would go to YouTube to find a solution to the problem. That's not a good thing. At the very least, maybe put up a video page explaining how to do certain things on your platform. I don't know.
That kind of, when Garrett was kind of talking about like, focusing on like, not splitting your chat because you want everyone in one place. Mm-hmm. I think it's really important that, if you guys do live streaming, if you're out there watching this, that focus is really important. And if you focus on the platform on which you want to grow, then, that helps you to basically create your community and all that stuff. And, you have the capability nowadays, like simul stream onto like X or Instagram or Facebook or all these platforms. But it's kind of like, well, if those are just kind of like side platforms, you're just splitting your audience. You're not actually like putting your focus where you want to grow. So if you want to grow on Instagram, you have to like live stream solely to Instagram and engage with the people who are on that platform and part of that community. Same thing with YouTube. Like, if you want to grow on YouTube, you have to put all your eggs in the YouTube basket, unfortunately. But Dutch, one of the things that Garrett told me that I thought was really interesting is that Rumble is actually focusing to be more of a streaming platform than it is like kind of like a VOD platform, kind of like YouTube, where you can upload a standalone video and it recommends it out to people. They're moving more. They're kind of competing more with Kick and Twitch than they are with YouTube at this point.
That's interesting.
What's your take on live streaming gaming and stuff like that on a alternative like Rumble?
Well, I've never tried. The channel's still young and fairly new. I've never actually tried to stream games on Rumble, but I imagine we'd probably run into the same kind of problems we do by trying to stream on Kick. I focus mostly on YouTube and Twitch right now, mostly YouTube. I do a YouTube stream and then we simul stream it on Twitch, but 95% of our people watch it on YouTube, and that's what I focus on. And Kick is like, nobody watches it on Kick. It's just nobody's really that interested. And I know there's people that do watch Kick and stuff, and I know a lot of people that have really good Kick channels, but like you can only focus on really one channel too at the most, and otherwise it just becomes too much of a pain in the ass as far as I'm concerned. And honestly, Kick, I feel like I need to go take a shower every time I watch a video over there because it's kind of gross. And more power to them. And I'm sure
It
we're
is
going to try
kinda gross.
to we're going to try to grow our kick presence at some point.
I
right
swear to
now-
God, it looks like
Yeah.
Pornhub sometimes. You're like,
Right. When one of the options that you have to click when you're setting up your profile is, do you want the hot tub streams on or off? During just like it's like come on. Nasty, gonna get Zorba the Destroyer or something. in a
dude,
hot
someone
tub.
sent my kid a
So-
text the other day. Come watch my kick stream. I'm like, stop it. Stop
No.
it. Block that number.
But I know guys like Beardo and Jay, Drunk PPL. They have a really good kick presence, and I think that's pretty much all they stream on. I think, and that's great. It's just not time for me to expand that stuff yet out there now. So
Garrett, do you want to comment on Rumble moving more to a streaming platform? Because I know that was something that I think you and I talked about.
Yeah, I mentioned it a little earlier. It's I don't know how much of it was us assuming that they were trying to go after YouTube, or they were advertising themselves saying we're going after YouTube, but it seemed like that in the beginning. But then it slowly turned into just getting streamers, and streaming is all over the front page, and there's just not that the platform of YouTube is YouTube videos. I know they've gone and done live streaming, and then they tried to focus on that for a while, and now it's more back to the YouTubes, and then really shorts. At the moment, that's their new kick is shorts, but
I hate shorts.
Yeah, me too. It's predominantly a video platform, and I think that's like the best way to get really thoughtful content, because live streaming, as much as you can be eloquent and have your points, the best way to put together like essays and things that you're trying to cover situations is a video, because you could sit down, you could record it and put time into it and
make sure the information's correct.
Make
right?
sure the
All that-
information is correct.
Yeah,
All that
live
stuff.
streaming is low effort.
Right.
And that's
So
okay, but it is.
That's what I prefer is
How dare you.
videos. I do watch a lot of live streams, but I like videos because of that. And I wanted there to be an alternative, and Rumble's just not that. They're
Yeah.
And I think what it is because they're just trying to get that biscuit. They were trying to get big creators. And what's the best way to get big creators and their audience? Live.
Mhm.
You're seeing them. Oh, I can get those people right there. So let's get these giant creators, move them onto our platform, and then they'll disperse around the platform. But it just doesn't.
Garrett,
It doesn't work.
you're totally right, dude. And Rumble 100% started off as the YouTube comparison. We're going after YouTube, and they went after creators that were YouTube. And then I think that once that tap started to run dry, they switched over to the Twitch audience, and they started going after the Twitch audience by getting streamers and copying some of or not. I mean, mimicking some of the Twitch efforts, like the way they did things. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how you grow. But I do believe that if they actually want to really compete with YouTube, because right now they are not remotely competing,
No.
it's all about a diversity of content. And
Yeah.
I think you're totally right. You need to promote videos and not streams. Videos are videos, high effort, high quality content that people put actual time, money, and talent into versus just talking. That way it's not a popularity contest, but a quality contest.
Yeah. And the only way you're going to do that is to support the creators, which means make a better back end, make it easier to do stuff on that side. Growth. Like, why would I put a bunch of hours into editing and researching and shooting a video when I'm going to put it on your platform and it's going to go nowhere?
Right.
Well, guys,
There's no
speaking
growth.
of supporting creators, we got some super chats to get to. We got Culture Casino for $1.99. He says it's quiet up in here, or quite upped in here.
Quite.
Be more literal.
Quite
Up to
up.
Quite
Up
upped.
to-
Up.
up
Then we-
to- up to-
Then we got Joker's Voice for $5. Booze and cigarette smell. That described my work week. I feel personally attacked. Oh, by the way, Star Wars is dead and Disney killed it.
Thank you, Joker. Yeah, it was awesome getting in touch and hanging out with Joker a bit last week.
We hadn't seen him in a while.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't see him at the creators thing. Was he on Thursday?
He was on Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, bummer, dude. You want to make money as a small creator?
Yeah.
Message me on mixtees.com because Joker Voice sells plenty of stuff at my website.
Joker has been working his ass off every day on
Yeah,
his channel, and
guy's a hustler.
he needs to get monetized. Everybody needs to go to Joker's Voice and follow his channel because he's dedicated and he's right. He does mostly wrestling content. So if you're into the wrestling stuff, go follow.
He's a hustler, bro. That hard work is gonna pay off. I guarantee it.
And speaking of hard work, we got Andre V dropping the $5. Morning from rainy LA. Is it raining in LA? Oh,
does it rain there?
Good morning, Andre. It does.
Careful,
rain.
if it rains too much, it's going to slide off into the ocean
Yeah.
from the mudslides, right? So,
David Nelson for $9.99. Here is $1.99 for each of you, and the rest for Uncle Sam. Appreciate that, David.
Nice, thanks, David.
And friend of the show, John Yulden for £4.99. As a smaller channel looking to grow, I am 100% focusing all my efforts on YouTube. Great show, guys, and like and subscribe, everyone. Brian, you want to give a shout out to your Stargate partner?
Yeah, John Yulden. He runs a sci-fi channel, and every Sunday at I think it's 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock p.m. PST. One of those times. Look it up. We've been watching old episodes of Stargate SG-1, starting at episode 1. Tomorrow we're doing a double feature. We're watching 2 episodes, and we literally watch it with a timer so you can watch along with us, and you can come into the Discord, and actually we stream the actual episode in high def, so you can watch it literally with us while we comment and sort of talk. Basically, it's bros watching TV for a couple hours every Sunday. It's not that hard. And right now we're doing Stargate. It's going to take us like 3 years to get through all of Stargate, but we'll eventually get there.
Brian, you'd get better numbers if you had a big titted chick on there with some cleavage. So
I guarantee it. I told John, you need to transition and get a breast job, but he won't listen to me. John, you want to grow your channel, bro? Get a boob job and start calling yourself Joan.
We need to replace Tom with a big titted bitch. That's
oh my God.
Let's do it.
I've been trying to say since David's super chat's been on screen.
I don't
Where's
endorse what
my
you just said.
$2? God damn it, Brian! You ruined my joke.
I want my $2.
I want my $2.
Want my $2.
All right, guys. Moving on, I have a new topic I want to talk about today, and this was something that was not on the call sheet, so I apologize. But I was watching the Theo Von podcast this morning with Ben Affleck on it, and Ben Affleck said something very, very interesting that made me think that podcasts are the new late night talk shows. And he basically said that when it comes to marketing a movie, the cost to market a film is just as expensive or more expensive than the movies themselves. And he said that, these studios spend tens of millions of dollars on TV ads that nobody watches anymore, right? Because nobody watches TV. And he specifically said the reason that he's on Theo Von's podcast was to promote his new upcoming movie, The Accountant 2. And we've seen on Joe Rogan, like Quentin Tarantino and more recently Robert Rodriguez, but also Dennis Quaid, when he had his Reagan movie out, he went on Joe Rogan specifically to promote that. And so what Ben Affleck basically kind of like pointed out is that YouTubers and podcasters are like the new marketing channels that celebrities and filmmakers and stuff like that are going to have to move to create awareness of their products, their movies, their TV shows, stuff like that, because nobody's watching like network TV anymore. Nobody sees the commercials. All these studios, whenever they release a new trailer or something like that, instead of letting it get shared around, they copy strike it and they prevent people from marketing their movie for them for free. So a lot of these studios are still kind of like in the mindset of like, oh, we need to get them on the late night talk shows, we need to promote movies. So they're spending all this money that's not actually like benefiting them. And Ben Affleck basically just came right out and said like, hey, the future is YouTube and podcasting. And I want to start with Brian on this, because what was interesting about Picard season 3 is Terry Matalas kind of knew this going into like that season of Star Trek. And he basically said like, hey, I'm going to reach out to all the major Star Trek YouTubers. I'm going to reach out to like the true fans of Star Trek online. And instead of relying on Paramount and CBS to market this season of Picard, I'm going to go right to the fans. And it worked for him, because Brian, you and Shane, you kind of rallied the troops. You got everyone
we
on
did.
board with it. And Picard season 3 ended up being like the most popular season of that TV show. So I want to start with you on this. Do you think that it's smarter for Hollywood to be focusing on YouTubers and podcasters as opposed to, their normal kind of marketing outfits?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube has more views and more viewers than any of the talk shows that these people are going to go on. Maybe not one creator, but you get a group of creators, and you're going to get way more views. It's so funny because at the time when Terry hit us up, our channel was definitely like up there when it comes to Star Trek channels. I'm not saying we were like number one, but we were getting a ton of Star Trek views. And he hit us up, and he hit us up through Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert Meyer Burnett was, you guys know who R&B is.
Sure.
And R&B was like, you got to meet with this dude. Picard season 3 is great. You got to go watch it. And I was like, okay, Rob, sure. Where do I watch it? And he's like, oh, you're going to go to his house and watch it. I'm like, what? I'm sorry, what? I thought he was going to send me a link or something. And the guy treated us like family, like for sure. And we got this binge watch all of Picard season 3. Huge deal. In his beautiful, like, movie theater basement. And that was my first interaction with Terry. And he was a super nice guy. Like, he was a nerd. He was one of us. We got pizza. We must have spent like 12 hours together. It was insane.
Was there pineapple on it?
No, there's no pineapple. That's disgusting.
Good.
Disgusting.
Anyway.
And to be honest, I was going there knowing that they were gonna, like, he was probably gonna try to get us to like him, to like Picard. So when I went into his house, as awestruck as I was at the fact the guy has a freaking Back to the Future DeLorean in his garage, which, as a nerd, you guys need to understand, when you see like a DeLorean in someone's garage, it's like they're a big-breasted woman. It's like the same thing. I can't tear my eyes away. The guy has an actual, legitimate, genuine Ghostbusters ecto pack, and he's like a super nerd. So we're watching Picard, and I'm like, first episode, it's okay. Second episode, oh, it's pretty good. By the time it ended, I was blown away, and it had nothing to do with the fact that there was a DeLorean and a Ghostbusters, suit in there. It was all the show. So when we were done, we hit up Gary. We're like, Gary, you gotta go watch this TV show. And so Gary went, and then the word spread, and more YouTubers watched this ahead of time. They got a general sense of how good it was, and it played. It damage controlled the first 2 seasons that Terry didn't really have a lot of involvement in. And yeah, Picard season 3 not only was successful, like it was their first Star Trek show to actually hit Nielsen, but most people really enjoyed it because they gave it a shot. Nowadays, in order to get a viewer, a customer, to give your TV show a shot, because people are so tainted by the message, you need someone they trust to be like, hey, you should check this out. It's pretty good. Or, hey, I like this. Like real reviews from people that they know are genuine and are gonna give them real information. Dude, it was a big risk for us because people hated Star Trek. Our channel was actually views were dropping, and that's why we completely left Star Trek. Now, if they made a new Star Trek show, Terry's not coming to us. We haven't done a Star Trek video in like 2 years. But at the time, telling people they should watch Picard season 3 after the atrocities that were committed in Picard seasons 1 and 2, it was like telling someone to put a jalapeno butt plug up their butt and they're gonna enjoy it. No one believed us. Every single chat was like, dude, you're out of your mind. We thought you weren't shills. We were called shills. They asked us how much money we gave us. What does Terry's dick taste like? Everything. We got every single criticism there was. Dude, I remember talking to my brother and being like, dude, oh my God, if Gary doesn't like Picard season 3, we are screwed. The community is going to turn on us so quick. when Gary posted on Twitter, Picard season 3 is good. I was like, yes, thank God, thank God he liked it.
Cosine, thank God.
I was like, I mean, dude, imagine if we were just like awestruck by the experience and it wasn't very good. And I was really hoping that someone would watch it and back up our, confirm our opinions.
Well, that Brian,
Yeah,
that was a very interesting kind of time period in like our YouTube careers, because it was actually the first time that we had like access to
right.
These productions where most of the time you have to go through these like marketing departments and stuff like that get approved.
Yeah,
and if
usually
you ever
it's Cheryl at Paramount Global that gives
and if
you
ever said anything bad at all, like you always got denied. So I want to throw this to Dutch, because Dutch, you said before we went live today that you didn't even know that there was a new Star Wars show out.
No.
And there are these things where basically like I had no idea that Sinners got released in the movie theaters. I had no idea that The Accountant 2 was coming out, because like I'm just so far removed from these outlets that actually advertise this stuff. So like, but if it's mentioned on FNT or if it's mentioned on Twitter or something like that, then I become aware of it. And it seems like actors like Ben Affleck know that this is where everything's headed, but the studios are still resisting it. What's your take on people just not being aware of like all the entertainment that's coming out?
I feel like, personally, I've been hyper focusing on the gaming channel so much that I've just kind of taken myself out of that space of the pop culture entertainment YouTube sphere that we all have kind of been in for the last 5-6 years. My focus is on somewhere else, but it really did surprise me when Andor got released this last week, because in my brain, Andor was still being filmed somewhere. I thought it was like going to be a 2026 thing. I had no idea that it was coming out already. It really kind of blew my mind. But then once I figured out, I learned that it was out, I was just like, do I restart Disney Plus so I can watch this thing? And I was like, no, I don't think so. I don't think I care that much. And I just don't care that much. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I have no interest in watching this thing. And it's a head scratcher for me, because, generally I tell myself, it's like, oh, I don't care about Star Wars. I don't care if I ever watch another Star Wars movie or Star Wars show again. But I've always been in this place where there's this little dude sitting on my shoulder. It's like, you're lying to yourself. You love Star Wars. You want Star Wars to be good. Just go turn Disney Plus on and go watch it. And then if you hate it, you hate it. But that guy didn't. That little dude didn't show up this time. I think I'm finally broken of the Star Wars cure. The apathy has gotten so bad that it's just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit anymore about Star Wars and Star Trek. And it's a very strange sensation. I'd rather go play Helldivers or something than watch a new episode of Andor. That's just where I'm at. And as far as this other stuff goes, people don't watch network television anymore. The people that these people are advertising to, the people that they want to go get in the theater, these new generations, man, my kids' generation, my grandkids' generation, they live on YouTube and they live on Twitch. That's where they need to focus the advertising and the marketing towards anything that they want people to put their eyes on these days. Who the fuck watches late night talk shows anymore? Nobody. I don't know a single person that
reaction
watches
channels. That's it.
Yeah. Those assholes have gotten so bad about their political takes and their poor programming and they're just shilling for these far left things that nobody watches them, nobody cares, and it's just, that's not where you want to go to market a movie anymore. If you want people like Gary or Drinker or those are the people that they need to go to get their movies marketed to. And I know there's way more people than just those two guys, but That's
Well,
that's just the modern way of doing things, and people need to accept it.
You know, Dutch, it is kind of funny because the YouTube format is essentially the talk show format, right?
Yeah.
So it used to be that you had late night and David Letterman,
Mhm.
and or the Tonight Show and David Letterman, and those were like your only two options to watch late at night. But now, at any point in time during the day on YouTube, you can go and find a live stream or highlights from a live stream that essentially accomplished the same thing, maybe without the celebrity guests, but the celebrity guests were never really the draw, right? It was always the host and the sketches in the format. I want to throw this to Tom Connors Jr. Because I remember a time back during COVID era where you had the Force 5 or something like that, where all the late night hosts knew that they were becoming irrelevant because they couldn't shoot anything. So they just started live streaming together. And they were really bad at it, you know, compared to like, you know, some of us. So, Tom, do you think that, you know, marketing is moving more towards like user generated content than, you know, typical late night content?
Probably. And I mean, a lot of it probably has less to do with people changing their habits and more to do with they just don't like the individuals that are there. Right, because for the better part of 100 years, we had Johnny Carson, we had David Letterman, like you mentioned, Conan O'Brien, any number of people in that secondary slot on CBS they tried to fill in, you know, over the years. Couple clicked, some didn't. But in the past 10, 20 years, the way they do their show has become irrelevant on top of them basically telling their audience how to think. Right? Like, I mean, Johnny Carson was a guy who knew that you couldn't get too political. You couldn't get too far in the dump. You couldn't get too blue. You couldn't do too many of these things. You had to kind of stay in this lane because you were on a specific time period where specific people were watching, and you couldn't really deviate from that because once you started to do that, you were going to lose your main core audience, which was middle America. And that's what the coasts always forget, is that there's so much more of America between New York and LA than there is in New York and LA. And if anything, they're usually the farthest from, you know, what the world is. But yeah, at the end of the day, part of it is also that they just, you know, they relate to guys like us because we are guys like them, right? So they trust what we say a little bit more than any of these shills that are out there telling you what to do with your own body and your own choices. And isn't that kind of funny that you would say something like that, you know? But yeah, I mean, TV in general is kind of on a weird place. And this goes into a whole bunch of other crap with streaming and stuff where I think that the studios and the network's biggest mistake was trying to make the streaming the end all be all of everything instead of it just being the new television. And if that was the new television, then late night would be like maybe something different or something from the past. Because I mean, you still have shows that do ostensibly the same thing, like you said, but they're on YouTube, they're on CNN, they're on HBO, they're, you know, probably one of the biggest talk shows around, like it or not, is probably Real Time with Bill Maher. I would imagine it has some of the biggest ratings as far as a standard weekly talk show that's been on as long as it has. Television.
Gutfeld beat all of the night, like the late night hosts, which is crazy.
There you go. So yeah, and he's on what channel now?
Fox.
I don't even know.
Still on
so
Fox.
Yeah, Fox. Yeah. So
and he's actually funny. So
yeah, I think it's a lot of different things kind of culminating, and it's just that moment. So it's generational. There's older generations that grew up with Johnny Carson that just moved right over to Jay Leno, that moved right over to Jimmy. And during the Jimmy years, all these Jimmys, we got the internet started getting bigger and bigger, and podcasts started growing from just something that was on iTunes and something that was weird, two people talking silently in a room. Oh, this is something that is interesting to watch. Then it turned into, like, it used to be 60 Minutes interviews, and now it's Joe Rogan interviews. And it's just a generational thing. It's moved from radio to TV to the internet. And the internet exploded, and we had that generation that's just kind of overlapped, where it seems, and I think that's where they are right now. They think that they're still on top when we've missed that. We've that ship has sailed, man. Like TV, You're gone. I'm sorry. You're the old version of media. We've moved on to the internet and authenticity. That's why people don't want to watch late night television, because it's not authentic. It's you sitting there, and all the little stories that they talk about, it's all pre-arranged. They have their producer call and say, hey, what would you like to talk about? Oh, could you talk about this story? We've seen comedians talk about this, how they go through all of their talking points when they make it feel like it's a genuine conversation. It's not. It's fake. And the more people have consumed real people as their media source, the more they are able to discern what is real and what is fake. It's not that it's perfect. People still find fakery, and they're able to swindle people. But on the whole, I think audiences are hip to that. Audiences are like, you're full of bullshit. You're trying to sell me something. You're fake. I would rather just go watch some guy in his room that's talking about movies, or talking about wrestling, or talking about, all these different things. Anything that I am interested in, I can find a dude or a lady on YouTube or on the internet talking about it, and I'd rather listen to them.
Real quick, Garrett. So, you worked on Louder with Crowder, which is essentially like a political talk show. And, when people tuned into that show and they were exposed to maybe actors or influencers or politicians that they didn't previously know about, and then they got exposed to them. Now you're on FNT. And I would argue that if an actor were to go on FNT, that would push their movie far more than going on something like the Tonight Show or anything like that, because you did, you hit the nail on the head, where basically you said that authenticity is the key here. And if people tune in because they like the people who are on Friday Night Tights, and they get exposed to this independent movie or new TV show that's actually coming out on Netflix or Amazon or wherever the case, I think that that's a much bigger marketing push than spending money on commercials. So from your experience on FNT and Louder with Crowder and stuff like that, do you think that studios ignore these types of shows to their detriment?
Absolutely, and that's why you're seeing Ben Affleck come out and talk about it now, because they have ignored it for a long time. It was back to what I was saying. Generational is it was thought of as TV is the be all end all, and that's what the industry says. That's what the official avenues are. You send your actors to the late night show or to Good Morning America and have your interview, and that'll get all the people in the seats. Well, that stopped working because most people are watching YouTube shows or streamers. So that's when you're seeing this a lot more. We saw Zack Snyder was on JRE,
Rogan, yeah,
because it's just, it won Donald Trump the election, bro.
Absolutely.
That is the most, that is definitive moment in time where we saw on the world stage, the Hollywood establishment is not in power anymore. They're not the most important people in the room. We are the people that are making shows, that are making content for each other. And sure, yeah, Joe Rogan's huge, right? But anybody could have a huge podcast. There's people all the time making huge podcasts, right? So it's us, and we proved that nobody cares about the celebrities going on these tours. We want to hear what they have to actually say. So I would love to hear every one of these actors go on to a podcast and talk about their experience or whatever, and then go, oh yeah, I'm making this movie, go watch that movie. I'd rather watch that than some marketed the weird junkets that they do where they're sitting in the same room in the same set.
Well, that's part of the problem, Garrett, is it's all part of the same junket now, right? Because back when we were younger, the studios were separate from the networks. Now the networks own the studios or vice versa. So it's all synergy for them, right? So it's all marketing. It's all they're on the talk show circuit because the studio owns that talk show circuit now. There's absolutely no separation between the two. So instead of it being, they're trying to jockey for whoever the most popular is now, it's just it's just part of the package, if that makes sense. And maybe people have become aware of that, even if it's in a weird like way, like they're not self-conscious of it, but they know it's there because it's inauthentic, if that makes sense. Maybe
they can smell it. They can go like, this doesn't feel like I was saying earlier, you watch a lot of content from real people having real conversations like this or whatever, right? And you subliminally understand what authenticity is. I know when I'm talking to people in real life, these people on my screen are also talking like I talk in real life. And then you go from that to late night talk show. And you're like, people don't talk like this. This is weird. This is like the stories are like a little too perfectly. Yeah. Oh, you asked the right question.
Sterile is the word.
Do you guys remember when David Letterman basically trolled Paris Hilton live on his show and just started calling up like all like the arrests and bad behavior and going to jail and all the stuff that was too taboo to talk about? And it feels like every time an actor goes on like a show, it's not like there's no realism there. Like there's stuff that they can't ask the actor about because they want the actor to come back and stuff like that. Whereas give Ryan Kinnell his own talk show. It's like see how many celebrities want to show up on there. But we got some real super chats to get to real quick. John Yulden for £4.99, currently on the NHS boob job waiting list and changing my name to Joan. All for the subs, guys.
That's dedication.
We got David Nelson for $4.99. Hey, Quarter Black Garrett, is it okay if I send you an email asking for streaming business advice?
Sure.
Yeah, but you have to spell business. You have to spell business correctly.
It's business. Black Kane for $5. Quarter Black Garrett, what's your favorite Indianapolis Jones movie? The Cadillac of the Soul, The Mink Coat of Destiny, or The Backhand of Doom?
Oh man,
I think Backhand of Doom. It had the darkest tone. There was a lot of darkness there, but also a little fun with the sidekick.
Which one was Pam Grier in?
I think
whichever one she's in, that's the one I like.
Yeah, I think that was Bitch Slap. That was
Good to know.
What you didn't know, that was the TV series of Indianapolis.
Not the TV series
where he's young and he's coming up. He's still on the streets. It's young Indianapolis Jones. They made a TV series, miniseries of it.
Nice. David Nelson for $1.99 for the Winers and Cheese. Thank you, David. The Mum for $1.99. Tom, here's your $2. I love turtles.
I love turtles.
God, I love being a turtle.
There you go. Beard of Liberty, a member for 15 months. Disney has driven Star Wars fans to apathy. Yes. Yeah. Long time ago, years ago, they did that. Def Row, a member for 26 months. Guys, that's over 2 years. Nice to go. Picard Season 3 is the diamond in the compressed, composted, rough oat fiber turd called Hollyweird.
Yep.
Apple needs to buy Star Trek and make it great again. I don't know if Apple's the right one.
Apple's not the right
one. Do think Apple is the right one. Have you watched any of the Apple original TV series?
Of course,
Apple has the best originals out there.
That would be an improvement.
They don't market their stuff though. Like nobody knows what's on Apple.
Yeah.
So.
Let's give
there'd be 4 new TV shows for Star Trek, and no one would know they existed.
Like The Gorge, that movie that came out. I don't know if you remember.
The Gorge is good.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Let's give Star Trek to Jonathan Tropper and have him put it on Apple, starring the guy from C, Jason Momoa. Yeah. Let's do that.
Captain Momoa. Yeah.
Captain Momoa. Let's go.
Hemorrhoid Hurts for Australian $2. Dang, I slept in, but the hemorrhoids are here now. Is here now. Good to see you, Hemorrhoid Hurts. Appreciate you waking up this early in the morning.
That's really early.
Us. Yes. And we got one more, 199 from David Nelson. Bidness is the correct spelling. Ask Eric J.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, getting back.
All
to
I know
business,
is that Garrett answers messages on Black people time because I sent him a message I think back in 2023 that has yet to be responded.
What
to.
On where?
X. Hold on. I was giving you shit in the chat earlier too.
We'll eventually get to it, bro. Okay, be patient.
I was going to ask him on so many Ninja Turtle things, but he never. I'm like,
he went out to get cigarettes and he hasn't come back yet.
That's right.
All right, guys. Well, speaking of business, let's get back to business and talk about rape in Star Wars.
No,
because apparently it's just not enough to rape our childhoods. They have to.
Are we allowed to say that
rape?
I was going to say I quit saying it so much. Yeah,
I don't care. I hate the fact that we have to use unalived instead of murdered. I hate the fact that we have to like use corn instead of porn. Like, I'm just gonna speak like normal people speak, and if we get demonetized, who cares?
I have heard from big YouTubers that might be getting more lenient. There's a Wendigoon. He posted this on Twitter, and he's a big YouTuber, millions of views and all kinds of stuff, huge, right? And he was saying he's been kind of subtly using it and seeing if it gets tagged, and he's used it a bunch in the last like 6 months. Nothing. So he's like, I think it might be okay to be adults again.
Yeah, I do know that YouTube updated their brand safety stuff to kind of reflect the fact that if you talk about rape and sexual assault in a actual, like, it's not sensational, but you're actually discussing the topic, that it's fine. I just hate that we have to like change our words to suit like some type of like brand safety like thing that's arbitrarily made at Google. So I'm just
so right, bro. Watching Jeremy from the Quartering, it feels like I'm having a stroke sometimes. that dude dances around every word, and he's like soldiers from World War III. I'm like, why is he saying?
Which? You know what's funny though about this whole
Star
Wars
word for everything?
thing?
I'm like, what is this a different language?
Is how dead this franchise is. Yet all week, this is all what people could talk about. And I was reminded of how like. It's these crazy weirdos that fuck this shit up in the first place, right? Because Star Wars was never about sex before, right? The only time sex even remotely came up was the fact that we know the twins existed, right? Like, other than that, like Han and Leia's romance was so PG / boy version of like what romance is basically.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even remotely close.
Well, I mean,
perfect amount. No more, no less.
No
just
less.
Like, I love you. I know. That's it.
I know. Yeah, exactly. That kiss.
There's that famous story about George Lucas when they were filming A New Hope, where he ordered the costume department to kind of like tape down Jodie Foster's, or not Jodie Foster. Princess Leia's. Yeah, Carrie Fisher's chest. Because he said that, like the white dress, it was too see-through, like it was too suggestive.
There's no underwear in space, yeah.
Well, he also said there's no sex in Star Wars. So, that was from George Lucas himself. He wanted to keep it family friendly.
Regardless, that dress made me get to puberty early. So
I think a lot of it had more to do with her boobs bouncing around. And then she also made the joke. And she also made the joke that she wanted to raffle it off so one of the crew members got to take the gaffing tape off every night. George didn't think that was very funny. Yeah.
Well, guys, so real quick before we get into the discussion.
I had a real quick finish to that, because speaking of Carrie Fisher, that's one of their big defenses. The people that are defending this stuff keep saying is they're like, well, what about the Jabba scene in 1983? I'm like, the last thing I was thinking of was Jabba wants to fuck her, right? He licks at her. He doesn't even technically lick her, and he barely touches her, and he keeps her on a leash like a trophy. He ain't gonna do nothing to her. She's just there because he's got a princess on a leash. That's what he just like.
That's for the audience to enjoy, not Jabba.
We will get to that in a second, Tom. But
sorry, that's all I had to say about this stupid shit.
I just want to point out. So Tony Gilroy, who's like the showrunner and lead writer on Andor, and he was kind of like the brains behind, Rogue One, the movie. Basically, in the 3-episode premiere of season 2 of this show, which is going to be the last season as well, they had a sexual assault storyline starring this character Bix, who, if you remember in season 1, which a lot of you probably don't because you didn't watch it, she was heavily tortured in that season, and nobody had any problem with the torture. But the minute that there's rape introduced in this show, there's this huge outcry online, and a lot of it's, I think, kind of being driven by the social media stuff, where it's like the Andor creator explains, like, we're all products of rape, and it's very salacious, very like viral. And when I read the article, it was kind of interesting when Tony Gilroy basically said, like, let's be honest, the history of civilization, there's a huge arterial component of it that is rape. All of us who are here, we're all the product of rape. I mean, armies in power throughout history have committed rape. So to not touch on it in some way, it was just organic, and it felt right coming about as a power trip for that guy. I thought it was kind of interesting that he was like contextualizing that, like, at some point in history, like, there was a lot of rape going on, and we're all products of that. But and on social media, it almost sounds like he's saying that like it's more of like a feminist message. However, in this episode, it was like an imperial officer who, because Bix is an undocumented immigrant, he decided that it was perfectly okay to sexually assault her. And Andor is a more adult-oriented style of Star Wars show, and so it does deal with like some of the heavy themes. Like the main character of Andor in the first season premiere openly murders a guy. So it's a very almost Game of Thrones-y gray area that Andor exists in the Star Wars universe. But I do think that there's something to be said about how when it comes to violence, like it's science fiction violence, so it's kind of okay. But when you start introducing sexual elements into Star Wars, it ceases to be family friendly, and it also almost dirties it up for people who grew up with it. I know Star Wars theory was very much about like, you could have implied some of this. You didn't have to like, make it so graphic. It doesn't really, belong in Star Wars. So Garrett, why don't you give us your take on this? Do you think that, it's okay to be more adult with some of these topics, or was this just something that was shoehorned in because Tony Gilroy wanted to get political?
I didn't watch the show because I am like Dutch. I'm apathetic, and I've been apathetic for a long time. So I've not even paid attention to any discourse and nothing until yesterday on the show. We were talking about it, and I tend to agree with Ryan, where he's like, in the scene, because I watched the scene, nothing happens. She just later says he tried to rape me, which I do like. I think it was maybe on the nose to just be like, he raped me, and not just imply it in some way. I think it just would have been nice, like it just visually and story nicer if it wasn't just on the nose, oh, he raped me. If they just like left it there, and maybe it was like simmering in the back of her head for a while and made a character thing. But that's beside the point. In Star Wars, I think it's something that does happen. That quote right there, he's right. He's like, every war that happens. So in a world where there's an empire, an evil empire that's taking over, or that has taken over, that's probably an aspect of it. And I don't mind seeing an aspect of that world and trying to understand Star Wars at a real level. Like, what would it be like in this world? I'm sure that would happen. It was just on the nose, I think. And this show, like you said, is more adult oriented. So I'm okay with those things being in there. They just had a show that was marketed to like 8-year-olds. So like they have both of those. And I think that's fine to have. It doesn't like break my Star Wars brain to see that. That stuff is kind of in Star Wars. It's just more implied. I think more tastefully implied. This was just too on the nose.
Tom, you did bring this up before we got into the article about how there are people out there who are like, well, Leia was turned into like a slave, and it was implied that there was like some abuse going on there. So like there is a precedence for this type of thing. It's just never been so like
where
upfront. Oh, like that scene in Return of the Jedi. But
I missed the part where he's like going to jump on her.
Well, he's a slug.
And not only that, like I brought up the other things, like he's basically the Godfather, right? The Godfather has a bunch of cats hanging around too. I don't think he's going to fuck them. Like, they're completely different species. There's never been this interspecies thing in Star Wars, ever.
Yeah. Does Jabba even have a penis?
If he does, it doesn't work like a human penis.
Yeah, maybe they made like slugs where it's like the eggs get thrown on the ground and they roll over them.
I mean, Tom, in Solo, there was that romantic relationship between the robot and
Solo don't count.
I won't say Solo.
Yeah, but that's different. That's just a horny pervert fucking his robot.
To the girl in Jabba's palace, like there's definitely some cross species happening.
Where does it happen? I've never seen two species in Star Wars ever kiss or do anything.
Twi'leks hook up with everything, though. I mean, like, there's
how do we know
species stuff?
I'm just hoping.
So some people are saying there's shit in the book, but I'm like, you know what? It doesn't really fucking matter. It's no different than when the dragon, captures a princess. That's about the equivalent of what Jabba the Hutt having Leia on a leash is, right? Because Luke shows up and saves the day. just like in all these other fairy tale stories. You guys are talking about like what is basically an allegory for people being raped by the government who are undocumented fucking immigrants. That's what this whole thing is about. From a guy who doesn't like Star Wars, never liked Star Wars, making a show for Star Wars.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
And honestly, if you like the show, that's fine. But I just think this whole debate and the stupidity of this nonsense and why is this even in our Star Wars is my problem. And a lot of this goes back to the Acolyte and some of this other shit is because there's only one audience left for Star Wars, and it's these fucking queerdos and shippers, and that's what they're making this shit for now. That's all it is. And that's all the Acolyte was, is so these people could go on their Twitters and their Instatics and go, oh, the gay lovers and all that shit with the stupid shit on Acolyte. That's all they care about anymore, is shipping these characters and talking about their sex lives, because that's all that matters to them.
So Brian, go ahead, Garrett.
I was just gonna say, so like again, I'm gonna restate, I'm out of Star Wars. I don't give a fuck what they're doing right now. I don't care. But in a Star Wars story, I am totally fine with hearing real life. Like, what is it like to live in that world? I totally want that. The point I made yesterday is why this, I think, bugs a lot of people, and it's bugging, it bugs Tom, right? We don't have a real Star Wars right now. If we had a great trilogy of actual to the spirit of Star Wars itself, content right now, I say content because that's what they use it, but movies, I would like to see an expanded, more gritty, down to planet kind of like, oh, if somebody got raped by somebody in the Empire, like what is that? What would that be like? A real story, a real human story in Star Wars. But that's if we already have Star Wars that I want. I want the swashbuckle adventure for everybody Star Wars. Then you could do stuff like this. But right now, you don't got none of that. You don't have any of that. So you're doing this Star Wars story where somebody gets raped, and I'm like, but where's Star Wars? Like I want to see Star Wars. I'm fine with that if we had Star Wars.
Kind of reminds me of Lower Decks on Star Trek, right? Like Star Trek was so bad. Lower Decks comes out. And it's like, I wouldn't care if there was a little side parody, like cartoon show of Star Trek. But the problem is, they treat it as canon, and it's during a time when there's nothing good. Like if we had TNG going on at the same time, they decided to do some parody satire Star Trek cartoon, nobody would care. Because you had good Star Trek. Right. Garrett is right. And a good example of this is the legendary Monsters franchise. Because they have the goofy movies for the kids in the theaters, because they learned early on, kids love these movies. They just want to see the monsters fight, and they'll buy the toys. So they went and did the series over on Apple for the adults. That handles more of the adult side of the stuff when it comes to the Monsterverse. If you want to dig into that kind of stuff, if you really want to know how the government works with all this stuff, if you're really into that business, you can go watch that show. But if you just want to go see monkey fight lizard, then you go to the movie. See, that's how that works. It's pretty simple.
I want to throw this to Brian because, Brian, in our beloved sci-fi franchises, in every case where politics has been injected, it always backfires. It damages the brand. It alienates people. What's your take on the introduction of sexual assault in Star Wars?
I think that Tom is right, and it's really about the illegal immigrant minority who looks very Hispanic, by the way, getting essayed by this evil, powerful, man who's going to deport her. That's really what it is. The whole rape part of it is just feeding into that like persecution fantasy that these liberals have. That's what it is. Like this massive persecution fantasy. They love to hear about how all the illegal immigrants are treated so poorly, and that it's 1811 all over again, and there's slavery and fascism and women running around in red dresses forced to breed for the man. Like it's all just a persecution fantasy. These people have this weird like sense of reality where they think that if every single perversion isn't accepted today, then tomorrow men will just start randomly raping women and no one will do anything about it. It's the most wild, crazy, out there, brain dead way of thinking and living. But guess what? That thought process has now, wiggled its way into our favorite fandoms. And here we are.
Dutch, you famously did not know that this show was coming out. It was completely off your radar, but you have to know about like the controversy because you are on X. So like, what's your take on this? Do you think anyone actually cares, or is this just more political posturing in order to get attention for a dead franchise?
I didn't even hear about this controversy until you sent me the link about it last night. So, I'm just kind of going through this article, and I don't even know if she even actually got raped. She just says he tried to rape me after he got killed. Is what I'm reading here, and then it's just a way to get people like us out here talking about this kind of stuff, to give them more free press and free marketing. Pretty brilliant job. Good job, guys. You got us talking about rape in Star Wars. So kudos to you. Personally, though, this is not my kind of Star Wars. I don't want this. There's another quote in this article, but that where they're going about fan reactions, and I think this guy kind of pretty much sums it up how I feel about it too. So I'm just going to read it. It says, "I don't want to see rape in Star Wars. You can portray power dynamics and making the audience hate the Empire in other ways without taking it to such a disgusting place. Vader wouldn't tolerate that shit, nor does the Empire condone it. It has no place in Star Wars."
So Matt,
that's where I'm at.
Before you comment on that, so what's the interesting part about this Hollywood Reporter article is they quote all these people who are expressing their opinions on X, but they never actually name them. That was Star Wars theory. That was Star Wars theory.
Okay, great, good. He's right, because he's right. That's how I feel about it too. I don't need this adult themed stuff in my Star Wars. My Star Wars was when I was 7 years old. Got bad guys fighting good guys. You got the
chicks in metal bikinis.
Chicks in metal bikinis when I'm 13. That makes you feel a little tingly down in the nether regions. You're like, "Ooh, okay, that's a pretty hot bikini there." Did I ever feel like she was being raped and bondaged and plundered by Jabba's entourage? No, never ever crossed my mind. I mean, I guess that's just how people can't even make a fucking Star Wars movie these days without having to put that kind of stuff in there or imply it. It's wrong. I don't like it. And it's just another reason why I don't care about this franchise anymore. So
what's not wrong is super chats. We got Chagsworth himself for $10. Just want to be salty. Y'all be good. Thanks for the spot in Vegas, boys. You're welcome, Shags. Anytime you want to use our studio, you're more than welcome to do so. And Black Kane for $5. Andor is the Star Wars equivalent of a 50s housewife with an ice pick lobotomy. The craziness isn't there, but neither is any of the humanity. Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's a really good analogy.
Yep. R2D-Bot has gifted 1 Salty Nerd Podcast membership. Thank you, R2D-Bot. Really appreciate you.
Nice.
And Tom, I need you to read this one from Some Young Guy Fat.
Oh, God.
There once was a slug with a big fat belly. He wiggled around with marmalade jelly. It took me a while to catch what he said.
Indeed. Member for 3 months. Thank you, Some Young Guy Fat.
You make no sense.
No sense.
He never does, but we enjoy seeing him in the chat anyway. All right, guys, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about a subject that Garrett said that he was actually very passionate about, and that is the death of movie theaters.
And I thought it was going to be boobs.
The question is, are movie theaters outdated? And the reason that we're talking about this is because there was this big article in Variety about how the Netflix CEO, Ted Sarandos, basically says that the theater model is outdated and most of the country cannot walk to a multiplex. And what's interesting about this article is he basically just kind of says like, hey, we're just listening to the customers. People like to watch stuff at home. If you're privileged enough to live in Manhattan, you can actually walk to a movie theater, but most of the country doesn't have that type of thing. So they just want to be on their couch in their living room watching movies. and he thinks that the movie theater model is basically dying out, and it will eventually just exist as like a novelty where, you know, like there'll be like maybe like 1 or 2 theaters in big cities that people will go to. And Netflix also owns like, you know, like a handful of theaters, of specialty theaters. But he's like, for the most part, people just want to stream quality entertainment to their home. So Garrett, take this away. What do you think about the Netflix CEO's take on theaters?
Well, that's a weird thing for him to say. Like, most people in America can't walk to a theater. Most people in America have cars, sir. I don't know if you just live in New York. And
Where are you?
Driving anywhere? Like, we all drive places. That's what we do. Yes, the movie theater experience has been destroyed. I worked at a movie theater. That was my first job, my first real job. I had a bunch of jobs before that, but my first real job and longest job before I got into, you know, other entertainment stuff, like actually working in it, was a movie theater. I worked from usher all the way into corporate. I experienced the 35 millimeter projector era. I was a projectionist for several years. Loved it. Loved the whole experience of it, the magic, going to a movie theater, waiting in line on a Thursday night, waiting for 12:01 show. All that magic is great. It's all gone. I just went to go watch Sinners. Fantastic movie, by the way, and you should watch it in theaters.
Very good.
Because it's great on the big screen. That's the only thing that's left is the big screen. The ticket, it was a receipt paper ticket. You go in, you feel like you're walking through like animal slaughterhouse lines, going to the concession stand. It's just all of the magic of it is gone. There's no poster. Like, they're all advertisement posters and not posters for the upcoming movies. There's just, I don't know. There's something about it that is really just gone for me. So there's that. There's also, he's saying that you can't get to a movie theater. People would rather watch a movie at home. Well, there's no good movies. That's the problem. Hollywood neglected movie theaters because they neglected the audience and neglected art and quality. They didn't make good movies for like 10 years, dude. It felt so long before, like, there was sporadically, they'd have good movies here and there. Again, like with a lot of these things, it's a lot of different things kind of culminating together to cause this problem. We dropped the mid-budget movie, so there's not the just nice dramas or thrillers that they used to be. Comedy movies are just completely gone. When was the last time you saw a good comedy movie? I can't even think of one. So there's a lot of things that just make it pointless to go to a movie theater. And we've talked about this a lot too, is 2020 broke that habit. You had people that would go, I remember them every single Friday, every single opening of a movie. There would be people during the week that would go to matinees religiously. They would bring their wives, their family every single week. It was their thing. And then 2020, nobody can go outside for like 2 years. It just didn't come back because the movies weren't there. They didn't focus on saving theaters. They gave up caring about theaters. They went to streaming, and they tried to do this whole streaming thing and put people in homes. So, like, of course, you focused your entire business model on streaming content from your house. No wonder the movie theater experience is dying. It was always going to die. I remember seeing, even before all this crap, back when they were still making good movies, the ticket prices but ticket buys were going down and down and down. It was getting slower every summer. It just, you could feel it. If you were on the ground floor, you could feel the slow decay. And I was like, eventually this will be bowling. This will be the drive-in movie theater. It'll be a niche thing that's like, oh, you guys remember doing a movie? Let's go to a movie. We haven't done that in a year, 3 years, 5 years. Let's go do that. It's a niche thing.
That might happen, but I kind of disagree to a point, because this is
Absolutely going to happen.
Studios and theaters have been in this same place a couple times now, and what happens is they just got to find a way to innovate and get people out of their houses to go see these movies. And the problem is the studios got all in bed with this idea that streaming was the end all be all of this shit. That is the main problem. Now the theaters, after COVID and allowing them to get away with too much shit, need to tighten up their belts a little bit and go, look, you want to bring these movies out, they need to be in theaters for 45 to 60 days minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum. And then maximum, if they make X amount of money over a certain amount of period, that means you keep them in theaters for at least 100 days.
Well,
or
Tom,
90 days. Because that's the biggest problem here beyond, because people are like, hey, I'm not going to go see a movie in a theater because I can wait for it to be on streaming. That's the
or day and date releases. Day and date releases were the dumbest thing they could have possibly done, because now people, why the fuck would I go to a movie theater and drive there or walk there and wait in the line and pay extra money for this, popcorn when I could just make it at home? It's way easier to go home. You released it. I'm at home already.
I do want to throw this to Tom again, because there used to be a time, Garrett just talked about day and date releases, where the theater owners had, like, the exhibitors had such a stranglehold where they were like, if you do day and date releases, we're not putting any of your movies in our theaters for like the next 5 years or something like that. So they had some leverage which kept the studios from doing like shortened releases. And in fact, Ted Sarandos in this article specifically criticizes the 45-day window where he's basically like, these studios are religiously sticking to this idea that you can't release it until 45 days after it's made its theater run, all this other stuff. And he was basically kind of like poo-pooing that idea, because he's like, we're Netflix, we've got the data, we know that people just want to sit at home and watch these things. So Tom, what's your take on that? Do you think that the 45-day window is outdated?
No. In fact, I think Ted needs to shut the fuck up, because Ted is probably the one who told Zack Snyder that his movie would have made $1 billion in the fucking theater. Because that's the thing is, okay, Ted, go ahead. Let's put all these movies on Netflix and see how much they make. We'll wait. Because we're not really generating anything. The only time, and this is the problem with Netflix, is that, and we knew this back in the day, they barely can pay their bills to the studios, and now they're just buying and paying for their own shit. Right? And that's where the studios misunderstood this whole thing to begin with and became the underwear gnomes, because Netflix bamboozled them into thinking that there was all this money in streaming. No, there isn't. All they did was kill the fucking market for video. That's all they did. And they went and took that money and they put it here and they go, oh, look at this. We're successful. It's like, no, you did. You're not. You just killed a whole nother business. You idiots. and the studios went, oh, we got to get us some of that. Instead, it's like they might as well have been just lining up to eat fucking poison at that point, because that's basically what they did. Because at that point, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? You not only did you just kill video, you killed 3 other streams at the same time. And I don't mean streams as in streaming. I mean the network television money that you used to make, the cable television money that you make on both ends between HBO and selling it to like TBS and TNT and all those channels, plus the video rental and sell-through market and the video on-demand market. So at least 4, 5, 6 windows you just fucking destroyed by saying, you know what? Let's just put fucking Wonder Woman on HBO Max the same day as we do in theaters. See how that works out. You idiots. And then, of course, everybody's going to see how fucking bad it is, because at least before it used to take 2-3 days for word of mouth to get around and say, oh, guys, by the way, Wonder Woman 2 sucked. No, everybody knew right away. They just shut it off after the fucking movie. Go, well, that fucking sucked. Glad I didn't spend $10 on that. And then Serranos is sitting here saying, oh, their theaters that. No, people, look, and this is an argument I get in with people like Paul Chatto and stuff all the time. And I'm so glad Ryan Coogler came out and said it this last weekend and his movie's doing so well, because he is 100% fucking right. There is not much to do in America that is cheap. And going to the theater, I know we bitch about it being expensive, but compare it to going to a concert, compare it to going to a baseball game, compare it to going to a wrestling match or anything else like that anymore. It used to be more comparable. You used to be able to go into a baseball game for about the same price you used to be able to get into a movie. Not anymore, you can't. Now, but at least a movie is still affordable for a fucking family to be able to go out and do. Sure, it's going to cost you $100 to do that, but that's one ticket to go see a baseball game. right? Like, there's no fucking way you're gonna get the whole family to go see a basement.
Yeah,
you're
you're
gonna be way
right.
up in the nosebleeds, and you're still gonna pay $100 a ticket. So that's what I'm saying. Ryan Coogler came out and said that this is one of the most affordable things for families, and I'm sure he was gearing it more towards the urban family, but it doesn't fucking matter. Middle America families who can't afford to do shit, that's one of the few things they can do. That's why fucking Minecraft made a bunch of money the last few weeks, because there was actually something in theaters the kids wanted to see, and they go, Dad, Mom, Dad, Mom, Dad, Mom, I want to go see Minecraft. I want to go see Minecraft. Minecraft. So they're like, fine, take the fucking kid to see Minecraft.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they did. And then the same thing's going to happen in a few weeks when Lilo and Stitch comes out. You fucking mark my words. That is going to be the biggest opening of the year.
Yep. It's going to be a
Hands
billion
down.
You're 100% right. My kids wanted to go to a concert for like this YouTuber turned musician. And the lowest ticket was like $85 a person.
Yeah.
For a
And I
3-hour
get it.
show. Bro,
Nobody
I
wants
can
to
go
go
to
deal with the shit in the theaters, right? I get it, but that's the studio's fault too. But sorry, Brian, you were saying.
But you can go to the movies on a Tuesday here in SoCal for like $8 a ticket. Like, yeah, and Tuesday's a special day because it's like film day or whatever. But even with you have a film pass from AMC or Cinemark or whatever, you're looking at like $10-12 a ticket. It is really affordable actually to take your family to the movies when you compare it to literally any other thing you can do.
But why? That's the problem. There's not the quality movies every single
That's the
week
issue,
like there
yes.
used to be.
The problem is the movie.
used- Every single week there used to be a family movie out, or a movie for the ladies, a movie for the guys, a family movie you could all watch together. There used to be the diversity of good quality. Like,
We're getting back to it,
to
Garrett.
good.
We're getting back to it a little bit. Like, these last few weeks have been good examples. You had Minecraft as a great example of a surprise blockbuster. You had Working Man, which was a smaller mid-budget film that did very well at the box office. Now, the problem with Working Man is it got pulled for Amazon to be it on PVOD so they can get it on Amazon in a month or so. And you also have like The Accountant 2 coming out this weekend and the re-release of Star Wars that did really well this weekend. So, I mean, there's a little bit of diversity out there. And like I said, Lilo and Stitch is really going to beef up the box office this year. But you're 100% right. They need to get back to the mid-budget films. They need to recreate the movie star. That's the first thing, because they killed the movie star with the comic book movies, right? That's
Get
the
them
problem.
off of social media. Fucking
Well,
every
that's a
single
problem, too.
publicist should be like, shut your phone off. I know that they're super focusing on Instagram right now for some reason. Like we've heard from,
Dude.
she was saying that like you're not getting hired if you don't have the Instagram followers. That's like a lot of entertainment industry. I don't know
weird.
why.
Instagram
Well,
it's such a horrible metric. That platform has no viability outside its own
We've
platform.
been hearing that for years. Like
Get
we
these
were
fucking people
told
off.
that when the Batman came out back a couple of years back, because the what's his face, who's now playing Lex Luthor in Superman, Nicholas Hoult. He was initially who Matt Reeves wanted to play the Batman, but the studio wanted Pattinson because he had more of a social media following. That was the exact reasoning why, and he had to buckle because of that. And you're 100% right. And it's not like we say anymore. It's like I'm going to see the new Batman movie. I'm going to see the new Avenger movie. It's not I'm going to see the new Eastwood movie. I'm going to see the new John Wayne movie or Sylvester Stallone or whoever, like we used to.
It's an interesting dichotomy too, because like we were just talking about how authenticity is what people want to see, but not in my actors, not in the magic of Hollywood movies. Like in the Hollywood movies, I want to see Clint Eastwood separated his own. Like I don't want to see what he thinks every single day. You know,
No, but we want consistency out of their
magic.
films, right? That's why Jason Statham is one of the few actors right now who can come out with a movie and it can generally open. Because
What are his politics? No
doesn't
idea.
matter. I don't even know if he's
Doesn't matter.
straight, to be honest with you.
Don't care. Yeah.
On the fence
Don't
on
care.
that. I'm not sure.
Never seen him with a woman in public. Don't matter.
Who cares?
I've seen him with a woman in public because I used to. run
Thank
into
you,
him
Matt.
When I lived in Hollywood.
Not that it matters.
Brian, you know, what's your take on this? Do you think theaters are like a dying institution? What do they need to innovate in order to pull people out of their Netflix zombie situation?
Man, I hope not. I hope that Garrett's wrong and we're not going to be like, you know what, we should see a movie. We haven't done that in a few years. I hope that's not the case. I love the movie theater experience. You know, the most recent one for me, and it's been a while, was watching Avengers Endgame in theater. with other people. That experience where people are experiencing the exact same thing at the exact same time as you are, and their reactions and that energy is just amazing. And I can name a lot of films where I've had that experience. I hope it doesn't end. If you want to stand out from what you can get at home, because Dutch is right. Like, look, I got a 72-inch TV. Pretty soon, I'll be able to afford a 172-inch TV in like 8 years. I'm sure it'll be a possibility to get a projector, an ultra short throw projector that's just as good as the theater, projected on my wall, have the same popcorn, have better seating, and the ability to pause a movie. That might be the case, right? So the theater needs to offer what the home cannot, in my opinion. And you're starting to see some of these theaters come out with like almost gimmick level attractions like 4DX and D-Box, stuff like that. That's sort of cool. So you have that kind of experience where you can add something that you can't get at home. But
I can't buy that fancy popcorn box at home.
You can't buy the fancy popcorn box. Also the experience with other people. And I gotta tell you, and if my wife ever sees this, I like to go to the movie theaters because you talk less and there's no pause button.
That's it. There you go.
Yeah. Dutch, one of the things
Brian stole my answer, man. I don't know what to say now. So
one of the things that the Netflix CEO talked about was that all the best movies and TV shows are being made for streaming. And, Quarter Black intelligently pointed out that there's no good movies coming out in the theaters. And that's one of the reasons why people just aren't going anymore. So what do you think about the quality of streaming versus the quality of what's out in theaters right now?
I mean, I was just looking through Netflix last night when I went to bed, and there was like 4 or 5 like movies that they're showing that I'd never heard of before, that I feel like 5 years ago probably all would have been theatrical releases. So yeah, I think the movie theater experience is definitely dying. I don't think these big studios, at least like Netflix and stuff, they don't really have a reason to put the movies in the theaters when they can get what they need out of them from people's homes. I think the only reason Netflix even puts movies in theaters is because they're required to for some of the lame rewards that they want to be eligible for. It's sad, because I love going to the movies. I do. I love it. I love going in there and sitting down with the giant screen and eating the popcorn and everything. It's an experience, and I've always been an advocate for it, but it's just times are changing. It's like Brian said, it's like we talked about before the show started. I can go down to Costco and I can buy an 80-inch giant movie screen flat thing that I can hang on my wall in 10 minutes for, $800. Where 5 years ago, that TV was $10,000. So I feel like the theaters are dying. There's not 20 years from now, there's not going to be any theaters unless they're like 4D complete immersion. You're playing a character in the movie with your fancy headset kind of thing going on, be part of the movie. That's where they're going to have to go with something like that to charge people to go see it. And it'll probably be so damn costly that nobody will be able to afford it, because eggs will be $75 a dozen or something like that. But yeah, theaters are dying and it's sad, and I wish it wasn't happening, but they're making it way too easy for us to enjoy these things at home. It's like last week, WrestleMania was here in Las Vegas. It was a week of wrestling. It was crazy. And I sat downstairs with my wife and I go, I'm going to watch wrestling. And she's going to go, oh, you got to watch that stupid wrestling. It's so lame. I'm like, yeah, but I'm watching it because I can watch it for free on Peacock in the comfort of my home in my nice leather recliner, when all those fools down there at Allegiant Stadium 5 miles away from us spent hundreds of dollars for a ticket to catch Concrete. That's just how it is. That's how times are changing now.
But don't you miss watching a movie with your friends?
I do absolutely do.
That is my favorite thing to do, is watch a good movie with other people that would appreciate it. My favorite thing. I know it's a weird thing, but that's my favorite thing to do. And you know what? I do it so little now. When I used to do it every week.
Brian, you live 4 hours away. I can't go to the movie.
Brian,
I know.
Brian, you know what my favorite thing to do is read super chats. So we got some young guy fat for $1.99. Tom, you help me out with this one.
What will people think if they label me a Star Wars freak?
Oh, freak, yes. And
What
some
will
young guy
people
fat
do
for
if they find out
$1.99.
it's true?
What will people say? Dun dun dun. Life on Tatooine.
I don't know what this means. What does that mean?
He's doing this is
He's a-
Jesus Freak Star Wars edition.
It's a haiku, Matt. It's a haiku.
I know.
Those are literally Jesus Freak lyrics, you guys.
The Beast 808 for $2. Angry Tom is peak Tom. Remain based all. Yes.
Blessed.
Angry
Blessed.
Tom is peak Tom. So we always like it
That's
when
my
Angry Tom
secret.
is
I'm
in it.
always angry.
You guys will see this private chat. He's been cursing me out for the last like hour and a half. I
Quit
interrupted
being
one
a
time and he won't let it go.
All right, Mark of Reality just became a YouTube member. Thank you,
Nice.
Mark of Reality. And speaking of Mark of Reality, for $5, the good movies for theater release have been few and far in between. Also, Tom should stop holding back. Come on, just let it out, Tom.
Oh, you don't want that.
Real quick, guys, before we wrap things up, there was a new Predator reveal out there for the next movie, Predator Badlands. And a lot of people have been criticizing some of the design and casting choices. So I just wanted to highlight real quick. I'm so tired of seeing Zendaya in everything.
I know, right?
That's for you.
I
Dutch
knew you were
Butters.
gonna pull that one up, dude. Look, I don't mind this.
Even better.
Perfect.
That's racist.
Wow.
That's racist.
Just watch
I
that
don't-
with G20.
I don't mind the design, but when I saw that Zendaya post, I almost died laughing. It was so
Yeah.
funny.
Oh my.
There's
The
something
Zendaya post
uncanny
was
about
quite
it for
funny.
sure. There's something kind of weird. It's just not shaped right. It's too.
I think it's like a
Up and
young
Too
predator.
humanoid.
It's like
They're
a
trying to
super
make it-
young predator.
My thing about it is
is.
more about how dry he looks. The original Predator is like slimy. You know, he's got like alien-y sliminess.
Maybe he's on a dry planet. It is the Badlands, right?
Isn't that Predator a girl? I thought it was a girl.
No, it's
I don't
not a
think
girl. So it's a young predator. They send them to these planets to pass it's like
Yeah.
a rite of passage type thing.
Okay.
If they
Yeah.
survive the planet and get a trophy, then they can.
It just looks
like,
weird.
graduate.
According to the lore, it's where you have to go to like get the honor back for your family when you're very young. So that's like a teenage predator. I don't know. I don't
Speaking
mind
of
it.
getting honor back, we got Mark of Reality for $5. Theaters are just live cast, sold out sporting events.
Some of them do.
Some
They
of them
do.
Some of them do.
Yeah, they do that. You
Well,
can
that's
rent
what I
out
mean by-
theaters and watch movies together. They need to make it an event. They need to bring it back. They need to bring that magic back. They need to set it apart from what you can just. I can watch a screen at home, like you were saying. Need to make it that event, man. You need to stop fucking doing these 2 p.m. Thursday preview nights. Fuck that. Stop doing that shit. 12:01. You build up the hype. You go there together. You build that fucking. It's an institution. You treat it that way. They've been treating it with the like you just said earlier. It's going to turn into all these gimmicks and shit. And I don't want that. I don't want it to be 3D box seats moving and they're spraying some water on your face or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, fuck it. I want the magic of the movie theater back. I want the curtains to as the lights go down. Welcome to the movie. Like, come on, bring that back.
Real quick, speaking of bringing it back, Brian, this is for you. I found this on Twitter. So this is basically Democrats Predator Badlands trailer.
Oh my God.
That's Gavin Newsom right there.
AOC is still hot, even as predator.
Hillary Clinton.
Make her eyes go white. Do it.
Do it. Oh, that's a good looking predator. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, we had a lot to talk about today, and we talked about it. I want to thank my fantastic panel of nerds for being here today. Tom Connors Jr., do you have any final thoughts, and where can people find more of you?
I like turtles, and find me at Midnight's Edge or Midnight's Edge After
I like
Dark,
turtles.
and I'm hitting the wrong button, and there you go.
There you go. Quarter Black Garrett, thank you for being here. First time on Salty Saturdays.
Yeah.
Hopefully you had a good time and you'll want to come back sometime. But any final thoughts on where can people find more of you?
No, thank you so much for having me on. It was a good time. And you could find me on my channel, Quarter Black Garrett, where we stream every Sunday. I say we, but it's just me. It's just me on my channel. Go subscribe. Thank you.
It's just him with no pants.
Yes, absolutely. No pants right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have pants on either. I can smell
No
my own
pants,
balls.
Garrett.
It's really-
Authenticity.
It's a weird
Point.
thing. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being here. Link to your channel is in our description if anybody in chat or watching this wants to go check it out. Brian from the Popcast, any final thoughts on what's going on the Brain Show today?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. We are talking about China, Superman, the real ID, and the Snape casting where they the black Snape guy, whatever. It's gonna be fun, and we're starting right away. Like we're literally I'm gonna hang up this. I'm gonna make sure my upload thing. I'm gonna start the software, and we're just gonna go. So we're not starting at 12:30 today. We're starting literally as soon as I possibly can, right after this stream.
And as soon as this show ends, you guys in the chat will be redirected to the Brain Show. So be sure to stick around for that. And Dutch Butters, any final thoughts and what's going on the Salty Nerd Gaming channel?
I just want to take a second to thank Quarter Black for coming in and hanging out with us today. It was a real pleasure, man. And
Always.
Tom as well. Brian, good luck with the show today. I hope it does well, and I hope the starting early thing works out a little better because
Yeah,
it's always weird when we raid the channel and everybody goes over there and you don't start for 30
I
minutes.
realized that. Yeah,
What's the point of that? Yeah. So
yeah, it doesn't make
so,
any
yeah.
sense. So now we're starting right away.
Yeah,
No break for me.
that's good. You don't need a
I'm
break.
wearing a diaper. I can just pee in my diaper.
Do it.
Yeah.
Diaper. Gaming channel, streaming. I get the new schedule started this week. I went through the first week, Monday nights, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings. It worked out really well. It's making me get up. It's giving me a reason to wake up with an alarm. So hopefully my sleep patterns will get straightened out. Working on doing some hell diving, and then I got a few more days of that, and then we're going to level cap, and then we're going to expand to some other shooter type games with the squad that we play with. Not sure what game exactly we're going to play with, but we're going to be mixing things up weekly.
Have you played the finals?
The what?
Finals.
No.
It's a first person shooter, like team deathmatch,
Mm-mm.
capture the flag kind of stuff. But
I'll
they
check
have
it
like
out.
a twist on it. A lot of fun. You should check it out.
Check out Body Cam if you haven't done that one yet.
Oh, I need to do that. We were talking about that.
We need to hook up and do some stuff together.
Yeah.
Me and Salty. We'll do that. But yeah, also a weekly podcast, and where we got some stuff that we're working on for members. Just having fun growing the channel, man. So yeah, that's what I got.
Good stuff. All right. Big shout out to Scotty Dub, our top contributor. Thank you so much
dude.
for supporting the show and the channel. Same thing to Made You Say Butts, Mexican Iron Man, and Jillian H, Major Giant, Eric Winberg. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your support. And we also want to thank everyone who gave us super chats during the show. Danny the Dork Knight, Culture Casino, The Joker's Voice, Andre V, David Nelson, John Yulden, Black Kane, The Mum, Hemorrhoid Hurts, The Shagsworth, Some Young Guy Fat, The Beast 808, and Mark of Reality. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your support. We really do appreciate it. And be sure to tune in next Saturday, same salty time, same salty channel for more Salty Saturdays. But until then, stay salty, my friends.
Later.